All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it, that was in midair going across the road in front of me.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail. And the whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
There are thousands of perfect people whose word would be good on any other subject, who describe getting a good look at an enormous hair-covered upright animal. And that is a fact.
Don't give me a snap.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, January 5th, 2020. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with that guy down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hello, Chris.
How's it going, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. So what's up, my man?
Oh, nothing much. Trying to enjoy the weather, what we've had. Been a rough week, but we just hang in there and keep on going.
Yeah, just keep on keeping on. So, yeah, so a lot to talk about tonight. We have a real special guest on tonight. We don't usually do guests, but we haven't been, but here we are. And first show of the year. And boy, do we have a humdinger of a show tonight. Let's say hi to our folks here. We got good old Cryptidville over on YouTube. Hello, Cryptidville. Good to see you.
Cryptidville.
We got good old Tactical Bigfoot Research over there on YouTube as well. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Tack.
And, of course, Walt. How you doing, Walt, over on Facebook?
Walt.
Alan. Ed, how are you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Ed.
So hello to all you guys, and there's many more people are filtering in as we start. And of course, if you were on YouTube, we ask that if you like what you see and you're new to us on YouTube and you haven't hit that thumbs up and subscribe, please do that. It helps. Every little bit helps. And if you don't like what you see, you want to just give us a thumbs down, and we understand. People have issues.
We appreciate your support.
Yes, that's right. We thank you for your support.
Yeah.
Good old Bartles and James commercials.
Yeah.
So anyway, what the hell has been going on this week? Well, again, happy 2020, everybody. Hope everybody is having a good new year to start. We're, excuse me, already 5 days into the new year, and World War III has not started, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Whoops. Too soon.
And for all those people who just got used to writing 2019 on your checks, guess what?
Well, I find that writing 2020 is a lot easier than writing 2019. It's easy to remember. And here we are 3 days in. I had my first felony arrest this year. It was like, all right. Yeah. So I was like, I make sure I put my 2020 in.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I couldn't even imagine that far into the future what it would be like in 2020. And I always thought we'd have like personal rocket cars and shit, like the Jetsons. I want to know where mine's at. Oh,
that's right.
Let me mute out. Hang on, Buzz. I'll be right back.
Well, apparently Chris has to take a phone call, and so here we are. I'm by myself right now. This is very unusual, but anyway, we have had this very interesting video that has come out with Mr. Todd Standing. Let me get back to the comment section here, and let's just say hi to the rest of the folks. Hello, Lisa, and we want to give a special shout out to Walt's son, Aaron. Good afternoon. How are you? There she is, Nani. Good to see you. Here's trouble. Sherry, how are you? You're not actually sitting like 40 feet behind me. You're actually someplace else tonight, but glad to see you're watching. Hey, Michael, good to see you stopping by and saying hello. That's our good friend Mike Nolan from the Demon Hunters. So the show, the Demon Hunters.
If anybody's wondering, that was the school calling to let me know the events for this week from my boy. So
all right.
I appreciate them calling during the show. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. A Sunday evening. Yeah. Of course, you know, it's what? It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Kentucky now?
No. We're on about 8 p.m., you know, which is kind of odd. They usually call about 5, but that's okay, you know. Not complaining, just reporting.
Oh.
You know.
So anyway, look who showed up. It's Mr. Thomas calling us Pookie and Chip. Yeah, that's right.
Hello, man.
Now we're on TV. Things are only getting worse. So anyway, you know, we have this little news bulletin before we get to the guest. It's only a couple of minutes long. And, you know, last week we had talked about the top 10 and we had said, well, you know, we haven't heard really much from one of the Three Stooges. And one of the Three Stooges actually popped up, not because of his actions, but because a person on YouTube decided to go out with him and videotape going out into the field with Todd Standing. And I have a couple of highlights from that, and get a good laugh on this one. This will just show you, you know, basically he was caught red-handed. It's kind of funny. Here it is, and then we're going to get on to our guest. Hang on.
All right, so we walked over to Todd's truck as he was getting ready, and I don't know if he wasn't expecting us to walk over that fast or what, but as I approached, I saw the blonde girl he was with in the back seat holding like a gorilla glove, like the kind you'd get at a Halloween store or something.
Very suspicious over here.
What
was it? I missed it.
It was like a Sasquatch glove. And just in case you think I'm lying, I asked Todd about the glove later in the day. Yo, I gotta know though, can I ask you something? What was the deal with the Sasquatch glove?
Oh, just my brother-in-law got it. It was a joke. He was just fucking with me.
What was up with that Sasquatch glove in the back seat?
I don't know. I'm gonna definitely grill him on that one. So very suspicious.
What is your relationship to Todd?
I am basically an apprentice, so I'm here to learn what he has to teach with tracking and looking for Bigfoot, basically.
I bet you eat it.
So how did that come about?
I was just a fan, and I found him on Instagram after watching his documentary on Netflix, and he answered me back, and I was just asking if he does expeditions for just to go for regular people, just to go out and try and find Sasquatch, and he messaged me back and said he was willing to do that, and now I'm here.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh boy!
Of all the people he takes squatching with him, it's got to be the 20-some-year-old blonde.
Yeah. I'm sure. You know, she's really great in the woods.
Your look was a $1,000 look there. You see, I don't have to say nothing. That look just said it all. No. That look said it all. So yeah, and I found it very interesting, the good old Bigfoot gloves. Well, I think it's time. We bring on our guest for tonight. He resides from Ohio, and he is, you know, part of the originator of the Ohio Bigfoot Hunters. Let's welcome Mr. Tim Stover. Hey, Tim, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? How you doing, Steve, Chris?
Welcome,
Thanks
Tim.
for the invite.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, anytime. And thanks for sharing this with us tonight. So, you know, I don't know where to start. Should we start with what you were doing first, or should we start with the video first? I think,
well, probably be a good idea to start with the video first, and then I can explain some details about it.
Yeah. Just so we got to run some comments here. I believe she wasn't there to go on an expedition. And she went right in there in his truck and grabbed the BF gloves. Yeah, I tend to agree. Does she swallow his lies?
Oh.
Oh, my.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ed says, hi, Timbo.
Hey, Ed.
Hugh says, hello. So, anyway, let's get to the video. And so we'll just mute and for a second, and we'll go to the video, which is quite interesting. I did elongate it a little bit. I got it at different speeds, zoomed in, zoomed out, so everybody can enjoy it. Here it is, folks. This was shot in October of 2019 in Northeast Ohio. And, you know, it's a thermal vid, and very interesting one at that. Let's take a look, guys. What the fuck? And there we have it. Yeah, I did
Wow.
what I did what I could with that film. You know, I took the original and I worked it up a little bit. I know MK had done some stuff on it, but I figured I'd take a crack at it, and so hopefully I did it justice. And so we got a ton of questions already in the chat, but Tim, I'll let you set it up. It's your floor on how this all came about.
All right. First of all, Steve, I appreciate you doing this for me, an analysis of the video. No offense, MK, but I think Steve did a better job at it here. That's amazing what you did. And let me tell everybody, first of all, with thermal, reason why I know it's 255 yards, because it's so easy to use Google Earth. They have a distance measurement tool on there. Okay, I know exactly where I was standing. I know exactly where that subject was. So that's how I got the yardage. And for those of you that don't know, thermal camera devices, once you record to the hard drive and then you transfer the video, over to your computer or to your phone or whatever it may be, you lose resolution. But I'll tell you one thing, when I was viewing that subject through the lens of the camera, it was probably twice as good on resolution. And Steve, sure, you probably are well aware of that. There's a big difference. And one person said, well, it's a person walking a dog. No, it wasn't a person walking a dog. I know what that looks like. This thing looked like it was dragging something with one arm or carrying something that was bouncing off the ground to its right side. And what I didn't realize till weeks and weeks later after I video filmed this, that at the very end, one of my friends mentioned, hey, Tim, it looks at the very end, this subject goes into this impenetrable hedgerow or thick bushes and like kneels down or something. And you can see that when you, at the very end, I'm like, wow, I never noticed that before. And this was well after sunset. It was dark. And I know there's going to be a lot of hunters. I used to hunt deer. There's one right behind me on the wall. I'm in my man cave now. So I was a big deer hunter, back in the day. And I know what it's like to drag a deer through the woods. And when you're dragging it, it's not going to look like you're carrying it right next to your side. You got a big drag strap. You got a rope, stuff like that.
Right.
And this subject wasn't going towards the road. It was going into the middle of nowhere. And where I was at is a road that I was 2 miles back, and the road dead ends. It's closed. It's been closed for a decade now. And I know I was the only one back there that evening and the only one out. And after I filmed this, I did stay there another, 2.5 hours. And I just stayed right on that area, and it just never came back. So whatever it was, what didn't come back. It was moving towards the wood line in that real thick area. I was thinking if it was a hunter dragging a deer that close to him, he's going to be working his way out towards the road where I know a couple parking spots are. There was no cars, Steve, Chris, nothing.
Yeah.
And I know this area, I can honestly say, better than anybody. I grew up in this area. I go there constantly. Matter of fact, as new wildlife officers come and go, they get to know me because I'm out there so much. And there's a lot of times where they need to look for somebody or something. And if they see me, they know who I am. They'll stop and ask me and say, hey, Tim, how do I get to this? So,
right.
And I'm telling you, when I saw this on camera, it was much more clear. I mean, this is really good. Don't get me wrong, but I can tell at 255 yards, that subject is tall. I've filmed people before and fishermen at 253, 350 yards. They are not that tall. This thing was tall, whatever it was.
Well,
so, and I actually held on to this video clip since late October. And there was a couple times where I said, should I just delete? I mean, if I put this on, like I'm going to get bashed for it. Sure. Well, at this point, I really don't care. I know what I filmed, and I didn't want to state, where I'm forcing anybody to believe it was a Bigfoot. But with my experience doing this 27 years, I've had thermal devices, throughout the last 15 years. And you can see this thing. I have filmed people at 300-400 yards, and you can always tell when they're wearing a hat, pair of jeans, shirt. Steve, Chris, you can see this thing, whatever it's pulling and carrying, it has all one heat signature.
Right.
So I don't get it.
Right.
Yeah, that was the big thing I noticed is that, and you know what? See, Tim, for those who haven't visited Tim's YouTube page, he has thermal videos of other critters that are known, and you can clearly see. You can see like people. You can see the difference between that kind of heat signature and what you have there. And
Yeah.
to get that kind of heat signature uniformly over that distance is pretty incredible.
Well,
yeah, I mean, you as you know, I always try to debunk my own footage. I try to eliminate all other possibilities. And this was just one of them times where it was mind-boggling. I'm like, you know, this possibly could be something. And people can go back on my YouTube channel, and there are a ton of thermal videos on there where I'm filming people, you know, on hiking trails and stuff like that at 300 yards. You can tell they're wearing clothes.
Right.
It's obvious, you know. So I don't know about this one. I mean, I'm up for answering anybody's questions they may have in the comments section. You know, I have nothing to hide on this one.
Yeah, let's get to it. So Tommy John says, looks like bipedal looks like a dog or coyote walking right with it. I tend not to agree with that because usually there'll be some, you know, like a dog will move forward, it'll move backwards. This is uniformly the entire time. So I do believe that whatever it is, it's being whatever it is, it's being dragged. It's pretty uniform.
Something is in tow, and I don't think it's somebody dragging a deer, because I think whatever it is that's being towed along there is alive. And if the hunter had killed a deer, I mean, by this time the body temperature of the deer would be colder than the hunter.
Well,
now that's showing up as a little warmer though, isn't it?
Well, it depends. I mean, it could be a fresh kill. It could be a fresh kill where it still hasn't lost its body heat, because you got to understand that it's going to take, you know, 6 or 7 hours before that body heat drags out of it, depending on the temperature of the night.
Okay. All right. With that in mind, do you know anybody strong enough to walk along nonchalant like that, dragging a pretty good sized deer? I mean, no way.
Not me.
I mean,
not me.
You got
I've had to drag deer out of the woods. No,
exactly.
In the dark without any without. So KCLS, is that a juvenile with it? We, you know, obviously Tim doesn't think so, right? You think?
Well, MK Davis seems to think so.
Well,
I mean, I've never told anybody this. I've been in contact with MK Davis through emails. I even talked to him on the phone. He said he's doing more analysis of the video. He says, Tim, I'm telling you, that could be a juvenile walking beside it, but I don't know, because at the time when I was filming it and looking through the glass of the camera, I can see the arm every once in a while and it looked like it was dragging or having something. It was just so odd. I mean, it's crazy. If
you have an adult that's holding a child's hand and they're walking along, you know, with them, that's what I'm getting an impression through a few frames of it, that it looks like, you know, an adult with a child in tow.
Yeah, maybe.
You know? And I don't know, but that's just the impression I'm getting. But right there, so, right through there, right.
Exactly. Now, if I would have filmed this and I would have know that other people was within 2 miles of my location, I would have said, well, maybe that is a person with a child going away from the road with no flashlight, I guess, or any light source, and just vanishing into a brush pile. But I know like I said, you put all the circumstances in the situation I was in. I was the only one there, and in all directions, mind you, single house, building, structure, anything like that. This is dead center in the area where I always do my research at. So it was just so strange to see that, you know, walking away from the closed down road. The road's so bad, actually, it's gotten to the point where you almost need a 4-wheel drive to go down it. And nobody goes down it anymore because the road's closed. So, I don't know.
So we have a few more questions. Of course, Tack asks, what thermal unit brand? You know, he's all about the tech.
All right. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not going to hide it anymore. I really haven't told anybody, you know, the specifics of the equipment I use, but, you know, they're watching my YouTube videos, and certain model thermals have their own certain format of your on-screen display. Okay. And they can easily find out that way. But what I'm using is a Pulsar Helion XP50 with 50 millimeter lens. And also for it, I bought a 28 millimeter lens and then 2 extra batteries. So I'm telling you, Steve, after I bought all this stuff, I thought I was going to have to file bankruptcy. I mean, it's costly. I got a lot of money wrapped up into it.
And that's apparent. And
And also I'm starting to interrupt, but I also, over the years, I had a FLIR i3, I had a Fluke thermal, okay, and as of right now, I have this Pulsar and I have a FLIR Scout, okay, thermal. And I'm not knocking anybody that uses entry level thermals or anything. Hey, you got it somewhere, but I'm just saying you put that FLIR up to my Pulsar and it is night and day. There's no comparison whatsoever.
Well, you kind of can tell from when you get this kind of shot at that distance. I'm trying to drag the wrong. When you get that kind of shot at that distance,
look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. I mean, you put my FLIR Scout up to something like that, it just looks like a big cloud. Right. So I'm using the best electronics that I can, and like I said, I'm always the type. Even like a while back, I posted that thermal video on OBH, the same one that Dr. Jeff Meldrum shared, where me and my buddy was going down a state park road late at night. Stacy Hostetler, you guys know him, and he slams on the brakes because he's looking through the thermal, and I'm watching the monitor, and all of a sudden we see this subject vertical. It looks like a Squatch standing there watching us. So we held on target, and we was easily fooled because this thing moved sideways, horizontal, and we can tell it was a deer.
Gotcha. So, just so you know, we're getting tons of questions. So, folks, please be patient. Please be patient. We're trying to get through these questions. We like to get, full disclosure answers. So, one of the questions was from Mike White was, okay, so what time of night? We know it was about 7:30, 7:50 in the evening.
7:50.
Yep. And he asked what the temperature at the time was. Do you recall that at all?
I think it was around 54 degrees, 52. Once it got dark, it really started cooling down fast. Yeah. But I'm thinking right around this time was right around 52 degrees Fahrenheit.
And Tommy John wanted to comment there, said, I'm glad you shared the footage. Many people are afraid to put their footage up because of backlash. So
I agree. Thank you very much. At this point in time in my life, Steve, I really don't care anymore. Yeah. I don't care about getting bashed or anything. I'm just, hey, I'm putting it out there, and you can come to your own conclusions on what it is. So.
Well, the one thing you even pointed out on your YouTube page is that this really isn't any conclusive evidence, but this is just out there for people to make up their own mind.
That's right.
How fair can you be? Tom Dixon, good friend of mine from way back in the day, asked, can't you use math or science to determine a height?
I haven't tried to do that yet. I know exactly the path, not a path, but exactly where the subject moved from left to right. And I've gotten quite a few questions on my YouTube channel. Is there any way I can go back and film the same trees and try to get a height thing? I guess I could, but I would need some help doing it.
Right.
And that's the thing. You have to have one object where the height is known exactly.
Right.
Well, if you look at this frame here, and I noticed that too, this particular frame, you got a good point of reference there with this tree here, because it's it's passing pretty close to that tree. So, but then again, what's is it walking? It seems to be, you can't see feet moving or shuffling. So I assume that the ridge there is obscuring its feet a bit.
Yeah, there is some tall grass there, Steve. Off and on, there's flat grass, and there's some tall grass that's like draped over. There's pricker bushes, stuff like that. And like I said, even when I did go back, it was a day or two later, I found no tracks, anything like that, because the ground's hard. It's grass, real dense grass, and I couldn't find anything.
Yep.
And there's no hike. It's not a hiking trail. It's not a path. It's just through tall grass, brush, little bit of timber, back through brush again. It's just a weird path that something or somebody took.
Yeah. Hey, we have a spammer from Twitch.
Oh, gotta love them.
So we're not going to put that one up, but it's good to show that even the Twitch is working in the chat. So yeah, okay, we're gonna post that one there, buddy. So let's get to some other questions. Tom Dixon also asked, do you how can you figure out how fast it was moving just yet, or not really?
I haven't been able to.
Don't move in the dark in that manner. Yeah.
I don't know.
That may be all stuff to do.
Yeah.
And people got to understand it's wintertime now. So there's snow and there's crap. So you really can't do a great recreation until springtime. Yeah. So do you plan on, if you get some help, do you plan on going back out there?
Yeah, sure. And actually, Steve, I've been back there since then, maybe 30 to 40 times. Like I said, I'm single. I live alone. So I can go anytime I want. And
nice.
I'm there constantly. Since that night, I went the following 5 or 6 nights in a row for hours at a time. I'd pull my vehicle down the gravel road somewhere. It was behind some bushes, and I would just kneel down in a chair, behind some bushes, just watch that area for days and days.
So people are asking questions about range and distance and time. So that's I know Ken asked range and distance. And we already have that at 255 yards. Yeah. We asked the time of day and the temperature. We've already got that.
Yeah.
So that's Amy's observation.
Yeah. Amy.
I can see while you think it's dragging some, the larger figure walks ahead, then there's some lags before the smaller object kind of catches up as the larger one slows down a bit. I'm not sure if I'm explaining what I mean correctly. No break in the heat signature. Very cool.
Yeah.
Bob Lemley says in one frame it looks like a juvenile arm sticking out to the back. Could be. Tack says that's a nice unit.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, he's a techie. So
it sounds like a tactical something. It was his
tactical big. He's one of my guys on my team. Right. He's one of my guys.
Gotcha.
And when he comes in there, it's like a I don't know how the hell he does it. Whoops. Mike White says best in a long time. Cryptoville says why not create somebody? He plans on doing that. Of course, wintertime is not that great. Cryptoville, I think you're from Florida, so that may be Amy said she'd be glad to help you out recreate it.
It's going to be difficult to get somebody to volunteer. It's going to be difficult to get somebody to volunteer naked for the walk.
Yeah, but it's so hard. It's so hard to explain to people that as much as I've used thermals and have seen people and animals at all kinds of different yardages and stuff like that, what really surprised, and I'll be honest, I was like, oh my God, look how tall that thing is. And I was like, wait a minute. Is it 2 people with one guy on top of the other shoulders? I mean, that's how tall it looked to me on thermal at that distance. So it's crazy.
Hey, here's a name. We got to throw this out here real quick. There's a name we haven't seen yet. Hello, Blue. Thanks for coming in and watching.
Blue.
So anyway, David Winter says solid heat signature shows a solid texture, full body. A jacket would be cooler than jeans. Jeans cooler than a t-shirt. So face way hotter than the clothing. So
I agree. Yeah.
And Todd Neese says hello. Hello, Todd.
Hey, Todd.
So, and Cryptoville reminded me she's from down the road from Chris. So Lester will do it.
And in filming that, and you can see where I pushed the picture. The regular picture on the thermal is 2.5 optical, 50 millimeter lens. Up in the picture you can see that's 5 times digital zoom, and then you can see where I switch it to 10. And the reason why I switched it to 10, I was like, why am I getting an all consistent heat signature? I don't see a hat. I didn't see anything carrying a gun or a bow or a pair of boots, or you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, I'm like, oh my God. So
hey, so your buddy David Winter says thermal master longer than Tim.
David Winter, yeah, my buddy Stacy knows him fairly well. How you doing, David?
And Tom says being a police officer obviously is based on evidence and what I can prove. 250 yard speed height on the tree, ground color, weather condition. That's why Tom and believe it or not, Tom and I used to be medics together way back in the day. So
really,
Tom is actually a law enforcement officer down in Kentucky. So watch your butt, Chris.
I will.
Oh boy. Yeah, Chris.
But Tom is a great dude. I miss him. Hopefully one day we'll bump into one another. Mike White says Expedition Bigfoot's on. We're not missing a thing. So
well, I mean, this thermal is really interesting.
Oh, Todd asked, is it the same footage they're showing on Russell's show? No. Negative.
I don't know what they're showing on there. So
yeah, this is from Ohio, not Oregon, and this was shot by Tim, and there's some of the capture. And actually, I think you got a better capture than they did on Expedition Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So, you don't need the little stick man in there.
Yeah, when my YouTube channel, I've had that since 12, 13 years or something like that. But people need to understand that 99% it's trash. It gets thrown in the trash because there's nothing there. Right. I only upload things that I want to upload that, I can, YouTube, hey, that's free storage,
Right.
Yeah.
So, every once in a while I'll get something where, you just get that gut feeling, that could be something else other than a person, and you can't explain it. And so I just put it out there and you can come up with your own conclusions, make your own judgment. I'm good with it. I respect everybody's opinions on it.
Yep.
But I put it out there to share with everybody. So what else more can you do?
Exactly. And, Mike Sion over on YouTube. Hello, Mike. Says Ohio has a long, this is stuff we know and but we'll put this out here. Ohio has a long history of Sasquatch activity. The geography is perfect to support creatures, even in the winter. Lots of games, i.e. ungulates.
Lots of food, lots of water sources, that's for sure.
Hello, Ryan. How are you, sir? Good to see you, man.
Ryan.
Things are okay in the western part of the state. Yeah, and David said that it would probably be better to recreate now that the leaves are gone. His area is a mess in the spring or summer. Yeah,
But I'm going to take that into consideration, Steve. Is there any way you can zoom back and show me that tree?
Yeah.
You was talking about that. Maybe I can get a height reference, because I'm going to go back there. I'm going to take one of my buddies with me. Like, where was that? So I know.
That's the zoomed in tree. Actually, okay. So if you look at the screen, I'm picking this area right out here where there's a tree. See that?
Okay.
Where it makes a real close pass to that tree. And as you can see, it right there.
Because I can put myself in I always put my chair in the same spot to watch these areas. So I know exactly where to.
Yep.
But I'm thinking what I might have to do if I take a person with me, actually, thermal works during the day too, but I might actually have to sit in that position and have him start walking down there, right? You guys agree? Until, get him on the phone and say, okay, we're at the tree right now. Okay, I'll be there. Now we have the right tree.
Right.
Probably something like that I can do. So that's the next step I think I should do. So
right. That tree is almost like center frame from where you were sitting. And Tim also, David also says, Tim listens to me sometimes. That's the fun thing about this show, Jim, is that we're very interactive with our social media users, which is a lot better than the old blog talk.
Right.
Where this is, you get a lot of visual and stuff. And yes, this is what Tom does. So he's the chef of police.
Hey, Tim, Tom.
Chef?
he's the chef of police.
Everybody.
He makes all the officer sandwiches during it. Oh, I'm sorry. It says cheap. I'm sorry. Now I'm definitely going to get a ticket if I drive through there now. That's for that chef comment. Yeah. But
around Clinton, that area is famous for white Bigfoot.
Hey, welcome, Frank. Frank says it looks big. Yeah, that's what she said. Oh, wait. But I almost forgot this comment from earlier. This one has to go out from Irish.
Irish. Oh, I haven't heard from him in a long time.
Yeah. He goes, sounds like if y'all like to find a 20-something young blonde apprentice. Back to the beginning of the show.
Yep.
So
hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Can you fast forward to the end of the clip where you last see the heat signature where it like goes into a bush or something?
Yeah, here's the zoomed version.
I'm getting a lot of messages on that. Like it goes so far and then it kneels down or possibly crouches down. I don't know.
hard to tell. To me, it seems like it just goes out of frame. Like you can't.
Okay, all right.
I mean, is that part of it right there? Hard to tell at this point in time.
I think on regular Zoom you can actually see it better. I'm not sure if you can see it good like that or not. I don't know. When I was watching the file on my computer without it being Zoom, or is it right? It just got me concerned. I'd like to know where that spot was where it last disappeared, so I can check that out too.
Yeah, I would be looking for something like a brush pile, you know.
I did. I think it was the next day or 2 days later. I went back there. I couldn't find any footprints, any trail where the thing walked through, because it didn't look like anything walked through there, and it just ended up in a basically impenetrable hedge roll. You know, it was thick. It was like, okay, I can't move any further, and that's what's got me so concerned about this. Is when I last filmed that and it went out of the video, the picture. Where did it go? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and I like I said, guys, I stayed there. I'm telling you, between 2 and 3 hours, and just whatever it was. If it was a person, okay, you disappear into a big brush pile, but you never came back out. Even if I did see you walking back out, where's your vehicle? Because if your vehicle's not there, you got over a 2-mile walk back to the main road.
Right.
I was the only one there, so it's like, oh, that's why I find this video so compelling. You put myself in the situation, and it's mind-boggling.
So Tom asked me when I'm getting back to Kentucky. I know I'm trying to get into CryptidCon, so we'll see. That's going to be in Kentucky, or I may go back to Scarefest this year too. So that's also in. They're both in Lexington. So yeah. Chris visited me 1 year at Scarefest, and Tom, you should come visit me if I do get into CryptidCon. Come give me a visit. A couple other comments. Looks like it's going behind a treetop, maybe. David says looks like it disappears behind a tree in the foreground. Frank Smith, is it walking through a game trail?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay, copy that. And Ron Bowles says interesting. So. Hello, Ron.
Yeah, there's no hiking trails there, you know, people trails, and that's the first thing I thought too. Is it on a game trail? I know what game trails are. I used to hunt most of my life, but no, there's nothing. It's just walking through an area that you normally wouldn't walk through. You know what I mean? You'd want to find a trail at least. So it's really weird.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to find tracks in grass too, especially tall grass that's grew up and then fell over. Man, it's almost impossible to find anything. You'd have to go through there and remove the top layer of grass without destroying the tracks underneath before you could look for them.
Yeah, and actually, before I forget, not to change the subject or nothing, it's been a while, but one of my videos on my YouTube channel where I'm using my thermal, for anybody that wants to check it out, I'm trying to remember the name of the video, but I can't, I'm sorry, but you can see where I'm filming a group of people at probably 200 yards away. And like I mentioned earlier, you can obviously tell the clothing, the hats, the shoes, and everything like that. This here, all one heat signature.
Yeah, that's what got me. I'm no thermal expert whatsoever, but you know, I have watched a bunch of them, and every time there's a thermal of a human, you can see the difference between their face and where they're wearing their jacket. You know, it's like the body is kind of cool, and then the face is like, you know, almost white hot. And the whole signature was top to bottom. You know,
right. When I was filming the subject, you know, that thermal doesn't have image stabilization, so I don't even remember breathing when I was filming it. I was like, I gotta stay as still, you know, as still as I can. I don't think I was breathing, you guys. So, because I knew at the time, I said this could possibly be some really good stuff. I know it's thermal video. I know it doesn't show any detail. You know, I'm well aware of that, but I thought it was something really good for thermal video. So
now, Ken Collins asks, was it hunting season? Is the land forest?
It's state park. It's woods. I wouldn't know. It's not national. It's not in a national forest area or anything like that. And yes, it was hunting season. It's late October. You have bow hunting for deer. And in that area there during the day, I've never really saw bow hunters. I'm not trying to say it wasn't a bow. I'm not trying to put in the minds of people that, no, there's no hunters. There's no deer hunters there. I'm sure there is. I mean, when I used to deer hunt out in this area, I never hunted that area with my bow. You just, it's really for rabbit and squirrel and stuff like that. But yeah, it was during hunting season.
And Blue says they'd like to see the daytime video from the same location at some point. That's probably a pretty cool thing to do, because that would give everybody.
I have a bunch of videos.
Awesome.
Daytime.
And
where I'm on that road and I'm filming them fields and letting people know on my my video that I'm getting ready to do thermal when the sun goes down.
And that's on your YouTube page?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now watch this. We were showing Tim earlier some of the neat things we can do. Watch right here. So now there's your YouTube page right there.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, we can put the browser right in there, so everybody. So
wow.
Yeah, so take a visit over there. Just type in Ohio, just search Ohio Bigfoot Hunter, and it will go to and you will find that. And there's the all the videos and a lot more. And if we click that over there, we can see all the videos that Tim does, and he does quite a bit of work.
Wow.
And he's showing how his stuff, including animals.
Well, you can see the thermal right there. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see where I have it mounted on my. When I do a lot of roadside research for people that don't know, I'll put the vehicle in first gear and I'll idle down the road, and when dark comes, and I'll have that mounted on my window there with a motorized pan and tilt head.
Yeah.
And remote control, and it's streaming to my monitor. And Steve, and Chris, as well as I do. And when you do it that way, you can cover thousands of acres in a single night.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're scanning the wood line, all through these parks and stuff. So I'll do that a lot.
So there is a lot of videos here to peruse through, and a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, you can see you're taking your time to explain things, and so awesome, totally awesome. Isn't that kind of cool? We can do that too.
Wow. Yeah, this is a great format. This is nothing like Blog Talk Radio.
No. We can do stuff. We've played a lot of times now. What we do is we get some audio. I will actually screen capture the wave clip of it, and then I'll play it with the wave. So instead of just being audio, you get audio with the waveform, so people can see it as well as hear it.
Nice.
So, Diego says, "Hey, maybe you got the infamous Ohio Grassman." And Frank Smith just want to say, Tim, much respect for you getting out there and putting boots on the ground researching. Amen to that, Frank.
Yeah, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Much appreciated.
And Mike says, greetings.
27 years.
And greetings. Hey, we have somebody watching from Thailand. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, Angela, like the footage showed once more. I guess we can give it another shot. We want to review it. We'll crank it back and we'll play it again. So it'll give us a time to catch our breath. And if anybody, for our latecomers, we're going to show that again. So here we go. I noticed we've had a whole new bunch of people come in right now. So we're going to re-show this video just so everybody that's coming late can get it. Here we go.
All right.
And just so people know, there is audio on this video. It's just really quiet. You'll hear Tim drop the F-bomb here in a second. What the fuck? And there we have it. So,
oh, you caught me eating banana.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed there at the end, that thing, it drops down and disappears. I'm wondering if that could be like a little berm there or something that it goes behind.
Chris, when I went there and I walked up where I thought was that, you know, remind me when I went back, it was only me. I'm pretty sure I got the area because it was just so thick or whatever like that. But
yeah,
right there, it just looks like it. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, to me now, of course, you know, I'm just sitting here watching it with everybody else. At the very end clip there, it looks like it drops down and then poof, it's gone. I mean, it doesn't show up anymore.
I seen one comment come up to where somebody, I think it was Bob, asked, Tim, did I hear you drop the F-bomb? Yeah, I did on the video. And I apologize for that. But I did say a naughty word. Well, when you see something like that, and you know that, you know, when you think you know you're the only one there, you know, it's like, whoa, you know. But, you know, hey, you know, like I said, I put the video out there. People can come up to their own conclusions, you know. I respect their opinions. Hell, if you think it's LeBron James in a leprechaun walking through there, then hey, I'll go with it. I don't care.
So Ron Bowles has a good idea. Get a 10-foot pole from Lowe's or Home Depot. Tape 3 activated hand warmers to it on, you know, one on each end, one in the middle, then film with thermal. This will give you an approximate idea. That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, you know what? That really is.
Yep. Ron is just full of ideas. Thank you for that idea. That's a pretty damn good idea. You know, that way you'll have the brightness of the heat pack. Yeah. Ron also said, no swinging of arms. Did you find that kind of interesting? It doesn't have the typical like swinging of arms thing, or
I didn't think about it at the time, but I knew when I was viewing it, like I said before, through the camera itself, through the lens, while I saw the right arm, what seemed to be a right arm, dragging or carrying something with a high heat signature,
and that and that makes sense to me why there is no swinging of arms. And the reason
because you're dragging something,
because you're dragging something, so you're using your left arm to kind of keep your balance.
Yeah, that could be it.
So that makes a lot of sense. If it's dragging something in its right arm, you know, you're not going to have your typical gait. You're not going to have a typical, unless it's something really light. If you're dragging something of weight, you're going to be sitting there using that arm to balance the offset of the weight on the right. So then we have Dave Dragonson says hello to us.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave, good to see you, my brother. Glad, I continue wishes for great health, man. He had a little bit of a health scare, and Kenneth Collins says two objects moving. One is bigger. I see a drop. Angela thinks it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And Tom said, could it be? I guess it could. Then what? Then when and where we see it disappear, that could be. Could it be bedding, laying down in the thicket, a great spot to rest? You know. I don't know, Tim. You know,
what I thought when I went there was it was a thicket. It got to the part where the point where it's like, okay, I'm not going to walk forward anymore.
Right.
This had to be where it disappeared, or went in and laid down or whatever. And so,
wow,
I don't know. I can see if they headed towards like another open field or open section of woods or a trail or anything like that. It didn't.
Right.
You know, it just a wall, walked right into a wall. And I'm like, what? So.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it is quite the awesome piece of video there. So it's, some of the best we've seen in a while. And Ron also said dragging something would make sense. So Ed Weiland said, great job, Tim. And then maybe it sat down to eat what it was dragging. Another good observation. Very, very true.
Hey, like I said, at this point, it could be. I just know I wasn't going to walk there that night by myself. Nope.
Yep.
No way. Hey, I'll admit it when you're scared and you don't want to do something. No, I'm do it. I don't know who that was or what that was. I'm not going to walk back there by myself. Even though I was armed, I was carrying my sidearm, my 9mm that night, because never know about the crazies out in the parks. Anywhere you go nowadays. or even, you know, just for self-defense, but I still wasn't going to do it. I mean, that alone scared the shit out of me because I'm sitting there thinking at the time, I'm all here by myself. I'm going to keep the thermal running until I can move to the car really fast, lock the doors, and get the hell out of there. Hey, I'll admit it. So,
Dave is going to bring the elephant in the room. Great job, Tim. Neighbor was talking about the interdimensional. It walked into a portal. I think he was joking about that. Yes, the portal potty.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, you make a great point, Tim, is that, you know, people ask me for years, you know, well, why do you put camo on and you know, what's the weaponry and all that stuff, you know, a Sasquatch, blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about the Sasquatch. I'm worried about other humans because, you know, I've been to places where there's been marijuana grow fields, and you never know when you're exploring, when you're going to come across a still, especially down in the South, like Louisiana. You could come across a still, you can come across a piece of private property that's not marked.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So Angela was asking, where can we see the day photo? That is somewhere on your YouTube page, correct?
Yeah, it's a video. It's on my YouTube channel. And there's probably 2 or 3 videos where it shows me standing there, you know, with regular camera showing the fields. And when I pan to the left, you can see that exact area. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the videos. It wasn't too long ago. You might want to look for videos in September and October, but you will get to see that exact area in the daylight.
Right.
And
so
I never thought to go back and look at my own videos and say, oh, wait a minute, I got daylight video of that. I didn't need to because I'm always there, you know, so, but it's there somewhere.
You have some videos right in here that were about 3 or 4 months away. So that was probably the area to look right in here. So
yeah, look in September and October. And yeah, there's a few of them where I'm what I call setting up base camp. You know, they're outside of my vehicle and getting things ready, getting the thermal ready to go, the monitor, stuff like that. So it's somewhere there.
There we go. So
interesting but inconclusive is my theory on this one. I mean,
it's pretty cool. I like it.
I know. I like it too, but you know, I understand. Hey, I've been doing this many years. I understand that's not going to prove a darn thing, but hey, you know.
Yeah, whatever it was dragging didn't seem to have a strong heat signature, so probably dead. That's Ron's, and yes, while Tim is going back in the future, and Frank said you could come across him Bigfoot getting drunk at a still.
Hey, true.
Yeah, a frisky Squatch at that.
Well, you know, there was a couple of guys making these survival shows. I can't remember because I hardly ever watch that stuff, but they made an episode in Kentucky, and it was 2 guys surviving in the woods or whatever. And, you know, they ran across a still. It was old and abandoned, but, you know, just they ran across a still. That really does a lot for our public image, you know.
Bob Lemley says, yeah, I came across a moonshine still the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hey, it's not just in the South, you know.
And David says that Tim lives at that site, so yeah. Next time you're up there, Tim, if you're up there in the day, you might just want to shoot a little video and say, hey, here's the.
I think I will do that because
here's the
on the show here tonight, and then in the YouTube. I mean, since I shared and made that video public, my inbox is just totally blown up. You know, I expected that, and that's why I did this show tonight with you guys to, in other words, answer everybody's questions in one shot. Yeah. I'm the type of guy that don't have the patience to go back and answer every little comment. You know, I try to. You know, I run my own business in the evenings. I like to relax, go out and research and stuff like that. But you know, and also the video that I uploaded, there's no editing, there's nothing. Like I told you guys that's straight from the camera, that's raw video footage. And you'd be amazed at some of the thermal videos people put out there, and they want you to believe what they're filming is a Bigfoot. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking people that have entry-level thermals, but I have a couple myself as backups, and they just show like blurry, smoky clouds
Right.
Yeah.
That could be literally anything.
Yep.
Right.
You know, but if you look at my footage, you can tell it's a vertical upright subject, and that subject 255 yards away. Well, the angle it was going, I picked the farthest spot before it disappeared, or no, midway. And when I did the distance measurement on Google Earth, it came up at 255 yards.
Right.
So
I've seen some thermal video here recently, and I don't know if it's showed yet on the show or not, but it'll probably will be. And it looks like a blob, a round blob, and they've got a little stick figure in there.
Oh yeah. They use the Connect system. That
That's pretty bad, man. I mean, you know, if they think that's good, I mean, if they see your video, Tim, they will die because their little blob with a little stick man in there doesn't come close to this.
Yeah. Angela says photo of that exact.
I'm sorry.
No, Angela just put in there a photo of that exact frame when you go back would be great. You know, if you get that type of shot right there, just the overall frame that you have. Hang on, right here. Yeah, you get that shot there. That'd be.
Is she talking about during the daylight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I can definitely do that. And yeah, oh my gosh, there was something I was going to mention about that. I forget now what it was. I got a brain fart.
Yeah.
But I definitely got to go back to that area. Yeah.
I don't have a train of thought. I have a train wreck of thought a lot of times.
Right.
And Bob asked a question. Do you think a 3rd gen night vision would pick any of that up?
That depends on what would you say, Steve? How much natural light was in the air, whether the moon was out or something. You know, I've used night vision cameras throughout my
Gen 1 and 2 probably not. Gen 3 might get some of that, but not as clear as that therm. You know, obviously, if we had a Gen 4, we could see from here to.
Oh man, wouldn't that be nice to have? One thing good about thermal is and every time I go out with it, I feel I'm cheating nature, and you actually are. You have animals out in the woods that are nocturnal, and they think you can't see them. And then I got my thermal. I'm like, man, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And this pulsar is rated at 2,000 yards detection.
Wow.
Now, guys, this is no shit. Or no, sorry about.
Hey, you can swear. We are. I made sure I made sure on YouTube I checked that my stuff is not kid friendly.
Okay, gotcha. But with that being said, I've tested it out so many times. I was standing at the lakeside. I picked up the thermal, went across the water, not me, but I viewed across the water, past an island, over to the campground. And I can zoom in and see possums on the side. I'm like, wow, that's a long ways. So what do? I get out my phone, get on Google Earth. It shows right where I'm standing. And I make that in the distance measurement tool. I'll be damned, Steve, if it wasn't 1.2 miles.
Wow.
2,000 something yards.
Wow.
And it was clearly easy. You can tell they were possums. I couldn't believe it. So that thing is amazing. You can, I mean, from a long distance, you can see moths flying, their little heat signatures and stuff. So it works really, really well.
You're getting no quarter here from the audience tonight.
Ed, what Ed just say? Oh,
you're getting no quarter.
Oops.
Didn't say the darndest thing. Hi, Steve. Thanks for popping in.
I know what it was. I was going to say. With my thermal, with the thermal, when you're viewing animals or people 100 yards or closer, whatever, I've got some videos on it. The resolution and the detail will blow you away.
Yeah,
right.
Now, Angela, she has gotten some very interesting stuff too. I gotta say, she moved recently. I've been following her stuff, and she moved recently and has been getting some really interesting stuff. Love to talk to her about it too at some point in time, even if it's off air. But she has the T640 FLIR, and it is similar. It picks up much more detail than the average FLIR being used. Nice to see the more detailed FLIR footage out there than beyond the blob heat signatures. Ain't that
right? Exactly. That's the thing. Like I was saying earlier, some of these YouTubers that are putting out these blob thermals and calling it Bigfoot, it's like you sit back and go, oh my God, really?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. David says thermal won't prove anything unless it's close enough to distinguish hair and facial features. Very true.
yeah, true.
And he also said he did a study of gorillas in a zoo to show thermal of hair on a Squatch. Want the link? We'd love it. Throw it up there for folks to see. You know,
Shoot,
yeah. My basic whole purpose of using thermal, guys, is not to prove the existence of Squatch. I know it won't. Video won't do it. You know, we all know we're going to need a live or dead specimen to prove this. But I use it that tells me if there's something out there with a heat signature.
Right.
You know, that's why I use it. I want to know what's out there. And I'll tell you what, since I started using thermals, you wouldn't believe how many people that I knew that have totally vanished and disappeared away from me. And I'll tell you the number one reason is we're out on a trail, right? And you hear one of the guys go, oh, what's that noise? Oh, I think that might be a Squatch or whatever. You know, everybody wants to believe every noise in the woods is Squatch. So I'm like, all right, I'm 20 yards away. I say, okay, wait a minute. I'll come back. I got the thermal. Before I can even get back to their location, they walk away and go, oh, it must have been nothing.
Right.
They know that my thermal is going to prove what's out there. And I pick the thermal up and I'll be damned if it's not a possum.
Right.
Right. You know,
so I don't want to be around people like that.
Yeah.
You know, I want the truth. I don't want to be around people that thinks everything out there is Bigfoot. You know, that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Yep. And hey, Sean, welcome back, Sean. Good seeing you tonight over there on YouTube. He said a drone video of the area would be cool. Do you have a drone, Tim?
I have drone. I'll be damned. Thanks for reminding me, whoever that was. Yeah, go on my YouTube channel and find the drone videos. I can't remember the titles of them, but I show all that area.
Nice.
Very cool.
All that area. Yeah.
Hey, you know, we could fix up a drone, and if you see a creature at night, crash it into him. Maybe it'll get some DNA.
I've had people ask me and message me and said, Tim, you should find a way to mount your thermal on your drone. No, I don't think so. First of all, you can have a fly off. Now you're losing $1,000 drone and you're losing a $5,000 thermal camera.
Right.
No, I don't think so.
Angela,
I mean, it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong, great idea, but too much to risk.
I'm doing a similar. Angela says she's doing a similar thing with chimpanzees in the mountains with Project Chimps. Very cool.
Darn, where's she from?
I think. Well, she was in Texas. I think she moved to Mississippi. I think. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Not sure. Not sure. If I'm wrong, yeah, I'm sorry. Steve Cawthron makes a good out. It seemed that 35mm video camera did a better job than our cameras of today, and there's a very easy explanation for that.
Yeah,
and that's because everything is on digital focus.
Yeah,
and if you're in the woods and something is 2 feet in front of the camera, guess where that digital focus is going to focus on? The first thing that's nearest to the camera lens. So if you're trying to shoot something that's 30 feet away and you got a simple stick that's in front of you, it may focus on that instead of what you need it to focus on. That's why those old days with the manual focus, you could probably get better wildlife. You know, even today, I mean, wildlife photographers, they do not go in with automatic focus materials. That's why the people that oh, there she is, North Georgia. That's right. So Angela now lives in North Georgia. But and boy, you know, I've been following her stuff, and boy, she's got a spooky area out there, a lot of interesting stuff. But if you you know the question that skeptics love to say, well, you know, with all the cell phone cameras out there and all that stuff, we should have pictures of them by now instead of these blobs, and they just don't understand how the new equipment works versus the old equipment. It's, you know, if we had a DSLR camera with a manual focus, maybe, but then again, think about the time frame. You have to clear your mind to pull that up. You know, you have to, you know, you're not trained to see these things. It's going to take us out.
And with the digital age, everything is in pixels now. I mean, with like a 35mm film or even like the 8mm, 16mm film from the old cameras, you know, that is in what do they call it? Film grain.
Yep.
And it's like little dots.
Yep.
and a dot is smaller than a pixel, so everything can be much higher resolution. That's why the Patterson Gimlin film still looks really good, you know.
Yep, and there's David saying that screwed up when I saw he had his last sighting. Branches in front of me wouldn't let me focus on the Squatch. Of course, common. Yeah. And you know, being a private, you know, I've sat in many a surveillance a day, and you know, in rainstorms it was a pain in the ass because I got my camera, and every time the windshield wipers would go by, the camera would go out of focus. Anytime rain fell on the windshield, the camera would go out of focus. You know, it's you know. People just don't understand cameras that make, you know, and some of these scientists, in fact, that's a whole section in my book about scientists say, you know, Steve Cawthron said kids say the darndest things. Scientists say the darndest things too. And that's part of a whole section of my book is that scientists say the darndest things. And, you know, I have these crazy things that scientists have said over the years that are just so inaccurate. I'll give you one example. One of my favorites actually came from my monster quest. And Philip Stevens is an anthropologist from the University of Buffalo, made the comment that there is no evidence to support, or there is no evidence that North America could support a large primate. Said that on the air. Well, Jesus Christ, we're a large primate, aren't we?
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
So it made no sense. You know, it's you know, we did okay. So yeah, it made no sense that particular comment.
I mean, you know, when we got here, the Native Americans were doing fine. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Until we messed it up.
True.
And then my other most famous comment was from Kurt Kogut, who is a environmental NCON scientist here in New York, who said, and this is how he said, you know, if these things were real, people would be seeing them. Huh?
What?
So it's definitely interesting what science has to say when it comes to cameras. But yeah,
well, another thing, when it comes to cameras, that's why when I bought this thermal, I wanted the 50 millimeter, which is 2.5 optical zoom. Okay, you know, the 22 or 20 millimeter was only 1.2 optical. So no matter what with these cameras nowadays, if you're going to zoom in and stuff like that, you want it to be optical zoom. When it switches over to digital, forget it.
Yeah,
you just ruined it. Yeah,
you get all that pixelation and everything too. Yeah, I agreed.
I mean, even though on my video, the upper picture there, that I think it says 5.0, that's digital. It doesn't look that bad, but the main picture, you can see that's 2.5 optical.
Yeah.
So you're not using any kind of digital artifacts, you know, processing going on that.
Well, you know what I may do, Tim, is I may actually zoom the original
on
picture instead
of, see, that's what you might want to do.
Yeah, I'll try zooming the original picture for you and see if we can't come in out anything clearer than that. So I'll get on my video equipment and do that, and you know,
I appreciate that.
And I'll stabilize it too, so it looks. Dave Jack, kudos to us primates.
Right on.
Not only common college professors are book smart, they lack common sense. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the argument back in the late 90s was, well, there's not enough calorie, you know, something that's 1,000 pounds or, you know, 800 pounds. There's not enough caloric, you know, in the forests. Well, really, a grizzly bear or even a black bear, I think it's something like 21,000 calories a day it needs to eat for like 3 months straight.
They survive.
Yeah, they survive. Before they have to go into, you know, before they have to go into hibernation, they have to eat all that every day for almost 3 months solid. So that's why they're, you know, they're all gnarly like that. But yeah, I mean, Tim, amazing stuff. You know, now you started this because you had a sighting of your own in what was it, 1992?
Yeah, Salt Fork State Park.
Right.
Yep.
I
was actually deer hunting. I was bow hunting when I had my sighting down there, and ever since then, this is what I've been doing.
Right. Yeah, I know you're pretty dedicated to the cause out there, and one of the few. And you know, You were one of the first people to shoot down one of my old friends, the Squatch Master.
All right. Oh boy, what a character that guy was. Is he even still around or on YouTube? I imagine he still is, but oh my God,
his stuff is getting so bad nowadays.
Oh man, that's what I heard.
Yep.
I mean, I'm telling you, he had it in for me.
Oh,
no matter
yeah, well,
what. Oh.
Well, and then there was that infamous audio clip that somebody thought it sounded like reversed English, and I reversed it, and sure enough, it was a transcript of somebody talking over a radio.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that? Oh, you okay?
Wow.
Yeah, I hit my head in my car.
Wonder what kind of car Bigfoot drives.
Right.
A Ford Expedition.
Yeah.
All right, boo. We can boo on that one.
Right.
So, Steve, I think if any drone out there would do the trick is a blimp type drone, at least one that makes less noise and can hold the night vision camera safely, unless of course you crashed a blimp too. Nice wind gust can take that away. And then there was, remember the Falcon project? Boy, that was,
whatever happened with that? That was supposed to be like a blimp, right?
Yeah.
Well,
blimp type object or
there's we had a lot of different projects that came out of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
We had the Ketchum study, we had the Ericsson project, we had the Falcon project, and all of them produced bupkis.
Yeah.
So, and that one was too. And, some argue funding, some argue mismanagement, some argue, I try to stay out of that one. But it had a lot of promise, but as we saw, it didn't really pan out. Or we're pan in because we're dealing with cameras. The Falcon project. Yes, and you can for a mere $5,000. Yeah.
I've got a couple drones actually, and
okay, so here's the funny thing. Ed says Patterson was busted for hoaxing on finding Bigfoot. Actually, Patterson was busted on hoaxing the same exact thing by the man you're talking to right here tonight. We're talking to Mr. Tim Stover. He busted him years before finding Bigfoot ever came to him. So let's put that in chronological order. What they did in finding Bigfoot for that particular episode, no offense to them, was nothing that hadn't been done by Mr. Tim Stover.
Yeah.
And I think what they just did was play off of what he did. They knew coming into it, thanks to Tim's work, that did that. But he was not the finding Bigfoot was not the first to bust them.
Well, I mean, I'll never forget the day I went down there because Jeff Patterson actually sent me a message, an email saying, I need help. I think I caught something on film. And this is before I knew how whack of job he was. But I messaged him back and said, okay, I can be down there in a couple hours. Well, I never heard back from him. I went down there. There's a little bit of snow on the ground. You can see where he walked into the pine forest there, Morgan's Knob at Salt Fork with his kids.
Right.
You can see where his tracks stopped and where he had his kids go out and around on the main hiking trail to them trees right there and shake them.
Yeah.
I had the print right there. And actually, I couldn't believe it. And then when I did the Finding Bigfoot episode and he made the cut on the show, I'm telling you, I'll be honest, I was devastated. I'm like, I can't believe they're going to put this moron on the same show with me.
But it was actually probably a good thing they put him on because they shot him down. And to me, and I talk about the Loch Ness special with the Robert Preston photo. They had me, chop that one down pretty good, and they cut that entire thing out of me chopping it down because their goal was to have the good guy versus the bad guy, your typical, the baby face versus the heel, the typical.
It's got to be, but the editing is done for entertainment purposes.
Right. And what they did was they wanted me to be the pro guy and not shoot anything down. So they put in this guy with a completely wrong analysis. But, whereas at least Finding Bigfoot, they put something out there that they would be skeptical about, and they knew that probably going into it. And they said, so and they're just putting that out there to make sure that, people know that, hey, these guys don't believe everything is a Bigfoot.
Right.
So I think that's why he made the cut, because they wanted. And truthfully, I'm glad he made the cut because it publicly embarrassed him. It virtually sunk his whole thing. Just like I think this video with the gorilla gloves on Mr. Standing is even. And if you I'm gonna tell you, watch the entire video that this kid puts up there. You know, the things that stand, you can tell what a. I'll let people make their own decisions, but you can tell he doesn't know squat about Squatch.
And you know what's crazy, Steve, is people still believe this guy. I don't get it. He's been busted for so many things, and then his fake images of Bigfoot that's loaded with makeup, and it's like,
right. Yep.
When's it ever going to end?
Right, exactly. It's never going to end because there's always new people coming in,
right?
Not having the background, and that's what, you know. That's why Dyer was able to make a comeback years ago. Was because there was a bunch of new people that knew nothing.
That didn't know the background. Yeah, didn't know the backstory. So
you know, and that's what I tell all your noobs. You can go out and buy yourself a copy of, you know, The Apes Among Us. Go buy Bigfoot Prints by Grover Krantz. Buy, you know, Rennie DeHinden and Don Hunter's book, Sasquatch. Read that book. That book, you know, to me, that put the nail in the coffin to the Bosberg Cripplefoot, because it was actually Ivan Marks who found the Bosberg Cripplefoot. So a lot of people don't know that. So
actually, I didn't even know that. Yeah.
No, he was with Renee DeHinden, and they stopped, and Marks got out of the car, and within 5 minutes he came back, and he says, oh, "Look at these tracks. I found these tracks." So DeHinden cast them and gave them to Krantz, and Krantz bought into them. But then months later, we have the alleged film of the Bigfoot by Marks where it's limping.
Right.
Oh, that's the Cripplefoot right there. You see how he set that up. It was all part of a plan.
Wow.
And somewhere, Steve, in your files, if they've not been deleted somewhere, you've got a picture of that too. You've got a picture of the Cripplefoot the Cripplefoot track before they cast it.
I believe I do somewhere in my files.
Really?
And I also have the video of the film of the Ivan Marks limping Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So, and Low Rider, our good buddy over there on YouTube. Hello, Low Rider, saying
Low Rider
now ripping off people, and it's in his nature. Yes, that's right. Guaranteed to run 30 miles. So, but yeah, you know, quite an amazing journey, Tim, that you've had. I want to thank you for coming on. We have a little bit more show to go. I don't know if you want to hang in or you want to peel out. It's up to you if you want to stick around.
I'll stick around.
Awesome, because it's always fun having a third voice on here, because Chris and I get sick of each other talking to one another sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we have this little bit of video. It's about 10 minutes long. And we'll pop it on. But last week, folks, for those who are watching the show, remember I thought I had a tree come down. Well, the next morning I get up, and what ended up happening was there was like multiple reports to the sheriff's department from about a 10-15 mile radius from where I live of people hearing an explosion and a green flash of light in the sky, which to me automatically I figured out what it was. But what I have here is the actual segment from the show, followed up by some news reports. And you guys take a watch. Here we go. What? Yes, Chris?
Before you start, I just want to say that everybody that was watching and listening to last week's show, you're famous.
Yeah, we're all famous.
Go ahead.
And of course, we have our favorite person we're busting on. But here it is. Here's the film. We'll get off here.
You still trying to pull the difficulties?
I'm having some technical difficulties, but I just heard a tree hit.
Oh no!
I heard a tree come down hard because my whole house just shook.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Well, on that note, maybe we better just end a little early and you go check out your house. Make sure you're not on fire.
That was,
The sheriff says it was around 10:43 p.m. last night when their 911 dispatchers began to receive a slew of phone calls from residents saying that they'd heard a loud boom that was shaking their homes, which was accompanied by a strange green flash.
I looked out my window thinking that maybe a house blew up.
Sandy Lupo of Greenfield Center said she braced herself for the sound of ambulances, but none came.
My thought was that my propane tank may have blown up.
A really loud bang. A few miles away, the boom also rocked Jen Gipp and her husband out of a deep sleep.
You know, my husband came running down the hall wondering what was going on, and we scared the dog, I think, about to the ceiling.
I thought it was thunder at first, but thunder just didn't really make any sense.
Ryan Christopher, owner of Ryan's Garage in Middle Grove, told us he's still not sure what the noise could have been.
I don't know what it was. Yeah. It's a mystery.
Others who also heard the explosive sound quickly took to social media, some even speculating that the sound may have resulted from a fallen meteor. Dispatchers handled dozens of calls, some from residents reportedly seeing a green flash of light at the time of the loud boom.
Galway, Providence, Edinburgh on the Sacandaga, over to the town of Greenfield and to the town of Milton here. So it's a big area.
Do you have any idea what the heck this is?
We don't.
Saratoga County Sheriff Michael Zerlo says it's not due to a lack of trying.
We have no idea what happened. We've called our federal partners. We've called the FAA. We've called the National Weather Service, been in contact with the FBI, and there's no reports of any type of circumstances that would have caused that.
Would you like to know exactly what the source of this may have been?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I absolutely would want to know, wouldn't you?
So for now, the disturbing boom that had houses rattling and residents up all night remains a mystery. In Saratoga County, Anya Tucker, News 10 ABC.
And we pride ourselves on getting answers to viewers' questions like the one we got today. What was that sound?
We had lots of calls, emails, Facebook messages that came into our newsroom from people in Saratoga County from last night saying there was a loud explosion around 11:15.
Now they say it shook their homes and lit the sky green. The sheriff's office got between 30 and 40 calls within 10 minutes, all from the western part of the county. That included Edinburgh, Galway, Greenfield, and Ballston Spa.
Now, there was no damage and nobody was hurt. Authorities have already ruled out a transformer explosion, and there were no aircraft in the sky at the time. Deputies patrolled the area today, but they couldn't solve the mystery.
I don't like not knowing what took place, so we have all kinds of resources available to us that we've been contacting throughout the day today. So hopefully we can find what caused it, and we'll see where it takes us.
Sheriff Zerlo told us he crossed aliens off his list as a possible cause right away.
Well, it's a mystery tonight in Saratoga County. An explosion reportedly seen, felt, and heard across the county has law enforcement looking for some answers. We heard from many of you when it happened. CBS 6's Emily Deficiani is live for us right now at the sheriff's office with the latest on this rather cryptic case. Emily?
It's certainly a head scratcher, Greg. Even the sheriff tells me that he doesn't like not knowing exactly what happened, but he says dozens of callers all reported hearing the same house-rattling boom and eerie green light.
911, where's your emergency?
Late Sunday night, phones were ringing off the hook at the Saratoga County Dispatch Center, with callers reporting an unusual event.
We took close to 30 to 40 calls in a 10-minute period. All the calls were similar: houses rattling, sky turning a greenish color.
Sheriff Michael Zerlo says the calls came from all over the county.
The Ballston Spa area, town of Milton, town of Galway, town of Providence, town of Edinburgh, in the western part of the town of Greenfield.
And the theories pouring in on social media are even more wide-ranging, from Bigfoot to a UFO crash landing to an all-out War of the Worlds. The answers are amusing, but Zerlo says largely incorrect, though the sheriff admits he's never had any reported incident like this before.
No, this is different. Initially, we thought maybe a transformer, but transformers are isolated into one area, not as widespread an area that we have.
A National Grid spokesperson says the company has no information on anything in their system that might have caused such an event. Zerlo says his patrol officers weren't able to find anything, but he's leaving no stone unturned.
We called the FAA to see if there's any aircraft up in the the air at that time due to the weather. There was nothing. Notified the West Milton site, the naval base. They had no activity there. Called the National Weather Service to see if it was maybe thunder, lightning, or whatever. They had nothing. Could it be a meteor? We're talking to NASA, and we're checking with the observatory in Albany.
As for something more extraterrestrial,
I don't know. I crossed that off number 1 on my list.
the sheriff says there were no reported injuries or any property damage. He says his office is now working with the FBI as well as ATF to get answers. If anyone has any information, you're asked to contact the sheriff's office. We're reporting in Boston Spa. I'm Emily Tvisciani, CBS 6 News.
You still trying to pull the difficulty?
I'm having some technical difficulties, but I just heard a tree hit.
Oh no!
I heard a tree come down hard. There's a whole my whole house just shook.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Well, on that note, maybe we better just end a little early and you go check out your house. Make sure you're not on fire.
That was.
You still trying to pull the difficulty?
I'm having some technical difficulties, but I just heard a tree hit.
Oh no!
I heard a tree come down hard. Because the whole my whole house just shook.
Learning new information now about the loud boom followed by that flash of green light in the sky that was witnessed by so many around Saratoga County over the weekend.
Now, the sheriff also saying he's now leaning toward it might have been a meteor. News 10 Samantha Damasio sitting down with a local astronomer and another man who just so happened to capture his own reaction on camera.
It sounds exactly like a fireball report, and they can surprise people. We can't always predict that.
Dr. Valerie Rapson, the director of Dudley Observatory at Siena College, has her PhD in astrophysics. She says as soon as she heard of the reports, meteor came to mind, specifically what's called a boloid.
When these rocks come in, they're fairly small, but they're coming in at very high speeds, so they can potentially break the sound barrier and actually create this ripple effect that will shake homes or cause explosions.
Saratoga County Sheriff Michael Zerlo says according to NASA, 3 meteors were heading for Earth on the 29th, one of which was due to hit around 11 p.m., which is when the 911 calls started to flood in.
These boloids are made up of iron and nickel. The iron will produce a yellow glow in the sky. It's the nickel that likely contributed to that green flash reported by so many.
Steve Kulls lives in Middle Grove and happened to be doing a live video podcast from his home at the time, which captured his reaction.
You still trying to pull the difficulty?
I'm having some technical difficulties, but I just heard a tree hit.
Oh no!
I heard a tree come down hard. Because the whole my whole house just shook. I start walking around the house with a flashlight, and I don't see any evidence of a tree coming down.
So he, like many others, were left scratching their heads in curiosity. Dr. Rapson hoping her insight can provide some peace of mind. And as far as any debris left behind, she tells me there's a good chance that the object broke up into hundreds of tiny pieces when it broke through the atmosphere.
People should not be nervous about this. NASA is watching for the really big meteors. There are no really large meteors that are going to hit us anytime soon, but sometimes these smaller ones surprise us.
Samantha Damasio, News 10, ABC.
Certainly hope so. While Dr. Rapson says this was incredibly rare, she does remind us something very similar happened back in April of 1968. A large meteor did fall. This one actually hit a house on Swaggertown Road in Glenville. The museum there in Schenectady has that very rock, and they shared these images from an exhibit there. Scientists telling News 10 just so happened to be on the night of the lunar eclipse, so a lot of people were outside with their eyes up on the sky when that meteor happened.
And there you have it. So yeah, we had that was a meteor. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not every day you have a meteor come. And you know what? The funny thing is when I listen to the next morning I get up, I see the statement by the sheriff's department. I'm like going, that's got to be a meteor. So then I played back the broadcast, and in my mind, and you see, this is how the mind can fool people. I heard in my mind, the boom went off, and I felt the house shake.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look very closely, if you're listening very closely in the video, you hear the rattle followed by a distant boom. The rattle came first, meaning it was something basically creating a shockwave in the air, and then it went boom. So to me, it said, "Oh, that's a meteor." It flew over and shook the house, and you hear this boom, which that was it exploding. And it's funny because that's how senses work. Your eyes and ears can be really immediate, but if you think about it, your feet, which is where you feel, and my legs and whatever are farther from the brain. So the time I heard the boom, which is immediate, the shake really hadn't registered in my mind yet. So that was kind of cool.
I got a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Did you ask that news reporter Emily DeFisciani if she was interested in becoming a Bigfoot intern?
That's pretty funny. Yeah, well, you know what? She did give me a resume. I sent it off to Mr. Standing yesterday. So
okay. Oh man.
Yes,
wow.
I am no longer allowed to have interns.
No.
I know she's watching tonight, so I got to behave myself. But yeah, actually, Steve, it wasn't necessarily a sonic boom. It actually was what happens is in these boloids and these other meteors, there's pockets in them of, almost like little caverns, almost like, so there's little pockets in them. And what happens is they're coming in through the atmosphere, these pockets get heated up because of the burn into the atmosphere. So the gases expand in these little pockets and cause that boom. They basically explode because of the superheated gases in them. And they go, and that's what the shake was. It wasn't a sonic boom. It was actually the thing just going boom. Because they don't, believe it or not, a lot of meteors don't come in at supersonic speeds. They come in actually slow because the atmosphere slows them down a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. Not expected. It was like I had thought, and it's true. I went out after the show. I went out with a flashlight, looking all around, and I thought maybe a tree had fallen down, and it was an ice storm at the time of the boom.
All right.
Who knew? Until the next morning, I'm like, going, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Everybody, who started watching the show last week thinking, I'm going to be part of the first recorded meteor sound and the atmosphere.
And we were the only one to catch it on audio. We were the only one to catch a reaction to that explosion. So it's kind of cool. It's like, hey, well, I was actually doing a podcast at the time of that. Oh, by the way, the peanut gallery pipe, don't give them any ideas.
Okay, Sherry.
No, no interns allowed. No interns allowed. I'll have a heart condition like Chris. No. No, you know what I always live by the thing is one woman is enough problems.
Oh yeah.
All right, sorry there, folks. I gotta, another joke just popped in my head, but I'm gonna stay away from that one this week. But anyway, but anyhow, we've had a hell of a show tonight, and I want to thank everybody for coming on. Something we are doing too, and I had thought long and hard about this one, but we have actually, for those interested, we got to do a little selfless promotion here. So what we have done is, and I'm gonna pop up another quick video, but a quick program announcement for the month of January. It would appear that Squatch-D headquarters is moving February 1st. So we may not have a show the first week of February, the first weekend of February, the first Sunday in February, because we'll be putting the office back together in a much bigger office and a little further into the woods too. I'm trying to avoid those meteors, I guess. But yeah, moving into a much bigger home, hopefully the beginning of next month. So, I got a meeting this week. So yeah, we'll be, dismantling this, probably right after Sunday's Sunday show, which I don't have the date book in front of me, but I would figure 2 weeks from now is the 29th. So, you know, it'll probably be dismantled. We may not do a show on the 29th. So
26, no. Yeah, the 26th of January will be the last Sunday of this month.
Oh yeah, that's right. 26. I'm thinking of the 19th. I kind of transposed some numbers. So the 26th will be the last show of the month, and then we'll probably take the following week off the first weekend in February because I'll be doing the move. Because I think the 26th, yeah, the first is I don't even know what the first falls.
We'll be relocating to a meteor-free zone.
That's right.
It'll be safer broadcasting.
And, you know, and I won't have to wear my tinfoil hat after I get off the air.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Oh yeah, the Super Bowl is on the 2nd, anyways. That's right. That's right. We will not be broadcasting Super Bowl Sunday. So thank you, Ron. That works out perfectly.
Yes, Ron. We will not compete with the Super Bowl out of respect.
Oh man, you know
hate to draw their crowd. You know.
I got to get the cable company up there on the 1st because I want to watch the Super Bowl.
Oh man! Oh
boy! Good luck with that, Steve.
No, you know, if I call them soon enough, it'll all work out well. You know, it's funny. You mentioned that the new place, actually, it's kind of cool. The new place, I will actually have a bar, my own bar area. So with its own table and the bar and everything. So yeah, this is cool. It's got a den, it's got a sitting room. So you never know, never know what I'm gonna pull off over there. But I am in the country. I'll be in the country even more so than I am now.
All right.
So yeah, it sits on about an acre. So there's a chicken coop, but no chickens. I'm not getting chickens now.
Oh, come on.
No.
Eggs are good for you.
Yeah, but the dogs are, especially one of the dogs. The German Shepherd would love the chicken.
Oh yeah.
The Shih Tzu, not so much.
For about 15 minutes, then the chickens will be gone.
You want to see a funny fight over here? Is watch the German Shepherd and the Shih Tzu chase each other. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
the Shih Tzu will chase her. He doesn't care. He thinks he's huge. But then when the German Shepherd chases him, he scoots under a table and behind the couch where the Shepherd can't go.
Yeah.
So like, whoa. But anyway, so one of the things we you know, we're trying to make this show bigger and better, and we're on the path to it. Obviously, you can see even we have the new overlay on today, where now we have the sites that the show is on all the time, so you guys know. Have a good night, Ken. But anyway, what we're doing is we're starting a Patreon page for those interested in joining the Squatch-D fan club. And of course, I'll play the little intro to the fan club real quick, and then we'll put the website up. So here's the intro to the fan club. Hey everybody, I've created the Squatch-D TV fan club page. It's time that we expand and we make the show bigger and better. And to do that, I've had to create a Patreon page. Of course, Squatch-D TV will be always free to anybody that ever wants to watch it. That's a given. But at Squatch-D TV Fan Club, we're going to be doing a little extra. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be polls. There's going to be one-on-one discussions. There's going to be all kinds of different things that we're offering to be part of the Squatch-D TV Fan Club. The other thing, too, is you may even have a chance to join yours truly on an expedition in the Adirondacks. That's also part of the Squatch-D TV Fan Club. Anyway, check it out. Think about it. We're only going to make Squatch-D TV bigger and better for 2020. So everybody, keep on squatching. So there I am with the crazy look on my face.
Nice.
But anyway, but yeah, check it out if you're interested. It's you know, we're gonna be doing little things like giving people some tips on what we're doing for the show, and we're gonna have some links to some of the materials we show, like like the breakaway segments. If you see like the tonight, the Ohio Thermal, you'll be able to take a look at that ahead of time or afterwards, you know, just the video itself. You'll be able to play that on the Patreon page. Some of the segments we'll have broken down on the Patreon page. So if you want to go back to that specifically, you can. We'll be doing, you know, having other levels. We have actually a one-on-one Q&A with me twice a month. We're rather once every other month. We're going to do an actual feed where people can ask me questions, and I'll give you the my blasted opinions that are private rather than public, because I do try to filter myself quite a bit, because it's only fair and it's only gentlemanlike. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of things going on there. Once we get this rolling, of course, you know, we're going to start as soon as we start getting patrons. We're going to start rolling out the programs. The only delay we'll have is like in the first week of February, and then we'll be rolling on. So, you know, we're going to be getting out there a lot this year. I have the opportunity to do that, so we're gonna keep it going. And by the Patreon page, we're gonna be able to spend more time on doing this program. In fact, I even have a goal when we reach a certain amount of patrons, we're gonna do 2 shows a week. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I think we can wrap for the night. You know, I'll start with my rap. Yeah, I see the Bigfoot walking down the street looking for raw food, maybe some meat. Oh, that's the wrong kind of rap in the show. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Anyway, so Tim, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, my brother.
Thank you both for having me on. It's been a pleasure once again.
And if there's anything I can help you with, like I said, I'm going to try to next few days. I'm going to zoom in on that sharp picture instead of the thing. See if we can't get that cleared up a little better. So we'll get that done for you. And hey, you know, we're always. Hang on a second. Let me get that queued up. 911. We're trying to stop it now when it's out of control.
Not yet.
But anyway, we got a bunch of comments. Kenny Collins says he wants the trip. So anyway, folks. Oh, thank you. You know, what can I say? Thanks. Great piece of evidence tonight, Tim. You know, you know, when you come out with the other videos and stuff, and you do all that stuff, I want you to come back on, and you know, we'll do a follow up. I'd love to do a follow up on that. That'd be
sounds like a plan.
You know, really cool stuff, because I know you got our audience was captivated tonight, so I can tell by the count. so anyway, I want to thank you for coming on behalf of me and Chris. Chris, any final words before we go?
No, just once again, I want to thank Tim for coming on. I always enjoy having Tim on. Love your stuff. I love this latest thermal. It's really educational. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and join us again next week.
That's right. And folks, we'll be back here next week. That will be on January 12th, 2020, 9 p.m. Eastern here on a plethora of different sources. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/steve.kulls, youtube.com/Steve Kulls, twitter.com/Squatch-D, SquatchDTV.com or SquatchDetective.com. But you got to get on the social media to chat with us. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and even Twitch if you want to spam us. So anyway, we'll catch you all next week here, 9 p.m. Eastern. On behalf of everybody, have a safe, great week. God bless. And most of all, keep on squatching. Have a good night, folks.
Good night.
911, what are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing, is all I can call it, that was in midair going across the road in front of me.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
And the whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
there are thousands of perfect people whose word would be good on any other subject, who describe getting a good look at an enormous hair-covered upright animal. And that is a fact.
Don't give me a snap.